What's up, guys? BC coming back at you guys with yet another episode of BC Talks, and unfortunately this time I have no special guests, but that's just fine because I do want to kind of capitalize on something here real quick. You can tell from the title alone, this is BC Talks, the masterpiece line, the good, the bad, and the downright. But the reason why I say this, and mostly why I'm going into this subject altogether, is basically I'm getting this out of the way right now. The reason why I'm tackling this subject now is because we just got confirmation that Masterpiece Sunstreaker is happening. And to kind of quote my boy Sergio Garcia, or however he is known on the YouTubes, to kind of quote him a little bit, and since based off of what I've seen with the Hisui car figures, he feels a lot like, just based off of what I'm seeing of the figure itself, he feels a lot like a Hisui model, because just in general he doesn't have that cartoonish look to him. And I don't know, maybe it's just due to my lack of MP knowledge, but I haven't messed with Sideswipe, but I have messed with Prowl and Wheeljack, and there's just something specific about the Suicar robots, because there's something about them that just really strikes me as, wow, this is really, really nice. And like, granted, these are figures that I pick up every now and again, flip them from one mode to the other, put them back up on the shelf, and then they stay there for the rest of their miserable lives. But that's just me. Anyways, kind of starting, and for the most part, scraping the bottom of the barrel. I'm basically going to pull up a list of every single Masterpiece Transformer from beginning to end. That means basically I'm starting with MP01, or at least I'm going to try to. With that said, guys, yeah, this is gonna take me quite a bit, but we are going to start rather small with MP01 and MP02. This is, well, okay, and I guess technically MP04. Masterpiece Optimus Prime / Ultra Magnus. This was the start of what the Masterpiece line was gonna be. And honestly, while yeah, I do have experience with the original mold, I do feel MP10 is better. I'm just gonna get that right out of the way, right out of the gate. I'm not gonna sit here and argue with anybody who feels MP01 is better, entirely because of the fact that, well, I still think that MP10 is better, entirely because of the fact that he aesthetically pleases me a little bit more. But that's besides the point. I'll go into that when we actually get to MP10 himself. Starting off with MP01, if there's anything that the Masterpiece line really did to just kind of really draw us in as fans, is they made them big, chunky, heavy, and just absolutely gorgeous to look at. I cannot deny with MP01, it's the fact that he simply just looks fantastic. But of course, that's me giving a lot of props to the fact that this was the first general idea of taking the original transforming box cab that was Optimus Prime and making it a little bit more complex and getting a little bit more of a quote-unquote show-accurate robot out of him. Which, to be fair, this really wasn't all that show-accurate. And then Ultra Magnus was just to kind of capitalize on the success of the mold. where if there's anybody who wanted this mold as the white naked Ultra Magnus, which is the best way I can describe this, then there you go. There's the that I think that's what MPO2 was. Anyways, and then MPO4, I'm gonna skip that altogether because that was literally a re-release of MPO1 with the trailer. Unless somebody actually chimes into the comments section or just in general in the chat and tells me otherwise, because knowing me, I am going to completely just disregard that general factor. And I have a viewer. Hello, Liquid Cool. Thank you for the like. I appreciate it. Anyways, moving on. MPO3 is essentially the very first Seeker mold, and this is again something that really kind of struck me as odd a little bit, and that's because just in general. Okay, I'm just gonna say it flat out. MPO1 up to 05, I was not a fan. And I'm just gonna say it right now. I don't know. Optimus is cool, but I feel MP10 was better. MPO3 is just at best. And then don't even get me started on MPO5. So yeah, at that point, I'm just gonna skip Starcream because I don't like the look. I don't like the general look of him, and we're just gonna move on from there. We're gonna go into the Megatron, which, dear friggin' Lord, what is that? I mean, seriously, I don't know how else to really say it at that point. Just the figure's the figure was garbage. I mean, I don't mean to sound mean, but that's kinda how I feel about it right now. It's crappy. It's a crappy toy. It's a crappy display piece. Okay, as a display piece, he's fine. He looks great as a display piece. General look and feel. Good God, what is this? And then MP06 and 07, Skywalker Thundercracker took up those slots, which I feel is really stupid, but besides the point. Y'all already know how I felt about that, so let's move on to MPO8. And MPO8 is the first breath of fresh air for the Masterpiece line, where we got Grimlock. This took the fan base, as well as myself, by utter friggin' surprise. And not just due to the fact that he was chosen to get a Masterpiece figure, but he turned out so good. I mean, seriously, look at this figure. He looks fantastic. And I still kick myself for not getting it when I had the chance. Kick myself for not getting a lot of the Masterpiece line when I had the chance, because now I'm pretty much scraping the bottom of the barrel because there's only one Masterpiece figure I truly have. Technically 3, but we'll get into that later. But in all, I've already covered a couple of bad. I've covered the ugly, and now we're kind of starting to trudge back into the good. And Grimlock, he's more than good. In fact, Grimlock simply is great. I stammer a lot because just look at this figure all in all. He looks fantastic. The Dino mode is perfect. even though it had that stupid tail wag gimmick. I don't care. I'm willing to forgive it because of how great the T-Rex mode looks as is. But the robot is where it's at. The robot mode looks fantastic. I really do dig it, and the fact that they give you so many different options with him, as well as a gimmick within his hand. While it kind of left you with just a fist for a right hand, they put a light in there so you can light up the sword, which was a really cool touch. And based on the version you got a crown with him. That's not good enough for you guys? Okay, how about this? Let's give him the apron and the tie, as well as that little tray of cups that was seen all of once in the G1 cartoon. It's these small little things that they do that really makes me love the Masterpiece line. And Grimlock has that in spades. Entirely because of the fact that not only did he have, granted, he had a pretty dumb gimmick with the whole tail wagging and the not so great jaw snapping shut gimmick, but the fact that you could change the color of his eyes, wow, that was such a nice touch. They didn't have to include it in any way, shape, or form, and they did, and I love them for it. Now from where we were at with Grimlock, we now move on to Masterpiece Hot Rod / Rodimus Prime. Takara, you had the right idea with Grimlock. Why you dropped the ball on this? Oh Lord, this figure is plagued with so many issues, and even now, after time has gone on, has more and more of the mold is suffering from breakage. Aesthetically, he looks fantastic, but as a physical toy, good God. I mean, okay, let's be positive here. The positive side of things, like I said, he looks fantastic. He comes with a little saw spinner. He comes with a little gas tank thing. I forget what that's actually called. He has his giant trailer, I guess, which turns him into a Space Winnebago mode. He's got the photon eliminator that splits off into his two guns. And the American release got something that the Japanese version didn't, where the American version got Firebolt. You know, that's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. But when you look at the core of the figure, even with that neat little gimmick where you can get two different robots in one figure, it's on paper, it's a great idea. In execution, this failed miserably. He barely looks any different. He has that stupid goggle gimmick that really doesn't work, that we saw him use all of once. And just overall, this general figure, the figure in general, how so many people got the figure and all that hype and excitement just went down the drain. Sucks. It really does suck. But at the same time, can we really get any worse than this? Spoiler alert, no, not really. We can't really get any worse than this. And you'll see why, because we are now going to get into MP10, which is the new version of Optimus Prime. And, you know, I was gushing about it in the beginning, but now I've actually got myself organized. Let's really get into the meats and potatoes of MP10. good God, I need this. The truck mode is fantastic. It really does feel like the cartoon truck mode just drove right out of the screen into the hands of the collectors. Which I say in the hands of the collectors because I don't own the MP10, and I'm kicking myself for that. But that's beside the point. With that said, yeah, the many different things he comes with. Let's get into it. Quite like MPO1, he comes with a trailer, or what? Quite like MPO4, he comes with a trailer. You know, he comes with roller. He comes with a little spike. He comes with a matrix. The trailer splits open and becomes a little repair bay with a little drone that folds up, and the trailer has a little gimmick inside of it where if you flip down a small little hatch and just close it up with the drone still extended, you can have the drone be like a little camera on top of the trailer, which was it's a really cool touch. And then we get into what is honestly, I'm just gonna say it right now, as much as everybody will give praise to any of the other Masterpiece figures that came after him, I'm gonna say it right now. I personally feel this is the best Masterpiece figure we have gotten. He is just absolutely outstanding looking. And when you essentially, buying option wise, had two options with him. You could go straight from the Japanese version, which it comes with everything that you ever needed, just right out of the gate. The fully fold up with the full flippy gun gimmick, which by the way, his little ion cannon, it has a flip gimmick, so that it'll be able to store in his back, which was a genius idea. Or you could go the American release, where Prime himself is cartoon colors. And that looks fantastic. That is the version of the figure that I want. So if there's anybody who would be willing to actually donate that, I highly doubt it'll actually happen. But you know what? I'm throwing it out there anyway because screw it, why not? I really do hope at some point we do get to see this figure get revisited somewhere down the line and get re-released. Because I don't even care if I end up having to settle for the Japanese version. I want this toy. I really do. And then MP11 is, you guessed it, Starscream, which we've already seen this mold. Storm, Sunstorm, Skywarp, and Thundercracker. And I'm going to go ahead and say, well, yes, I'm not a fan of the MP03 version of the mold. MP11 took everything that I disliked about MP03 and fixed it to where they were like, here you go, he's more show accurate now. And if you couldn't already tell, well, yeah, I didn't like MP03. I love the look of MP11. MP11 just knocks it out of the park. I really do dig it. And then another one that came right out. Okay, actually, before I get into that, he came with the coordination set. And I believe each version of this mold came with Dr. Arkeville. And then the jet had all these random little nooks and crannies that could open up on it. Just the mold does so much. Oh, and I guess it's safe to assume, since I didn't mention it, MP03 I believe came with other random missiles that you could attach to it, whereas MP11 just stuck with the straight up null rays. I'm happy with the fact that it's stuck with the null rays, but that's besides the point. All in all, MP11, great, simply great. Then we go into who is honestly everybody else's favorite, and the one that I'm pretty much going to be getting fairly soon myself, entirely because of Sunstreaker. We go into MP12. that being Sideswipe, which he sees another release as a repaint into Red Alert, as well as a repaint into Tiger Track and G2 Sideswipe. And this is a figure that took the fanbase by storm. He was the first introduction into the he was the first car to be introduced into the Masterpiece line. And when I say, okay, let me try that again. Aside from the debacle that was MP09, Masterpiece, Lambor / Sideswipe, I actually blanked on his American name for a second. Masterpiece Sideswipe is the first successful car masterpiece. Because the Lamborghini mode looks fantastic. The robot mode really looks like he walked out of the show. He looks absolutely awesome. He comes with the pile drivers, he comes with the shoulder cannon, the gun, a few other accessories, but I'm not going to bother trying to figure out what they are because the figure itself is, you gotta give it props. It looks fantastic. And then here's the thing that really kind of, even with me, really just kind of threw us all off. The fact that he is significantly smaller than everyone else. And that works in his case, because if he would have been a gigantic Lamborghini, while yeah, it would have been really cool, he would have been out of scale. And that would have driven a whole bunch of the fan base absolutely insane. So the fact that he was just a regular sized car that scaled very nicely with Prime, already he's leagues ahead of what the fan base was expecting of him. So it's like, okay, how can we improve on this? Simple. MP13, Soundwave. Now he's the one that the fan base pretty much just praises to the high heavens. And honestly, I do too. Entirely because of the fact that, I mean, come on, look at it! I don't even need to explain all the stuff he comes with. Look at him! He looks friggin' phenomenal! He is, like, quite like MP10, I feel like Soundwave is the pinnacle of what the Masterpiece line needs to be. Entirely because of the fact that I can look at this figure in any pose I want, and I could still recognize it as G1 Soundwave. I can't do that with any other version of him because, let's face it, he hasn't seen very many versions of himself where he was the tape deck. This was a true return to form for him. And I feel that's what works. This is the mode that I want Soundwave to always be, the tape deck. But of course, that's just me kind of throwing a bone to the G1ers. Yes, I do kind of feel your pain sometimes, guys. But you gotta modernize a little bit more. But in this case, I'll let you guys have it. G1 is best. MP13 is Soundwave, guys. I can't gush about it anymore. Now, MP14, I believe, was Red Alert. Yeah, it was Red Alert. I already pretty much specified that. The only thing I can really bring up about it is the fact that he has a different head, and he has the ears, the sparking ears from when he was losing his mind. You know, which is cool. I liked it. I think it's a cool figure overall. Now, who was MP15? Oh, MP15 was when they introduced the 2-pack cassettes. Cassettes? Learn to talk BC. There's a BC brain fart for the night, guys. The cassettes. And this is the one where it's Rumble and Yit and Jaguar, which let's face it, guys, it's Ravage and Frenzy. It's Ravage and Frenzy, guys. I'm sorry, but it's Ravage and Frenzy. I'm gonna leave it at that. So with that said, yeah, Frenzy comes up with the guns and the pile drivers, and Ravage, which is really cool. At least I believe he did this. He transformed and still kept the rockets on his hip. I don't believe those are a separate accessory. If they are, I'm pretty sure somebody will tell me in the comment section. But as far as I know, the rocket stayed on his hip, which is cool. Laserbeak came with Soundwave. So then MP16 is Rumble and Buzzsaw, which this is pretty freaking cool. I really dig this. Now, before I go on, I'm going to specify something. There is another version of Red Alert where I believe he's more cartoon accurately colored, which, okay. And, like I said, Tiger Track, G2 Sideswipe. In that regard, enter Masterpiece Sound Blaster. Every bit as cool, every bit as awesome as Soundwave, but comes with, instead of another Laserbeak or a different color Laserbeak, or a different color Buzzsaw, whichever you prefer, you got Mind Wipe. Not Mind Wipe, Rat Bat, duh. I brain farted again. Mostly because, Mind Wipe's literally right friggin' here in front of my face, so naturally I looked over him and I went, hey, Mind Wipe! Oh, crap. Anyways, moving on. Yeah. So if you guys were getting a little upset with me, I'm not sure if you were, but if you guys were getting a little upset with me over the fact that I was kind of just glossing over the ones that were official releases and not really going in the direction of the ones that were released on the side, there you go. Sound Blaster came with Rat Bat. I almost did it again. So with that said, let's move on. MP17. MP17. Now, this is a mold I actually have experience with. Masterpiece Prowl. Wow, what a great fucking noise. Let's just start with the Dawson mode, the car mode. The car mode is simply fantastic. he looks so nice. It looks so nice. He's the Nissan Fairlady Z with the sirens on top. So it's safe to assume that that's one of the cars that they had to get the licensing towards, whatever. But yeah, overall, I dig this. I really do. But the transformation is kind of where I feel like he falls apart. His transformation is a bit finicky. But that has nothing in comparison to the freaking robot mode we get. God, I love his robot mode. It's such a nice, clunky robot. He's got the door wings, he's got the red head crest, he's got the gun. He's got everything that screams G1 Prowl. So, with that said, MP18, take a guess. Any blue streak? Yeah, you can pretty much already tell how I feel about good old Prowl. I feel the same here about Blue Streak. Even though I don't own Blue Streak, but that's besides the point. So MP19. We get Masterpiece Smokescreen, which I believe he's actually a slight retool of Prowl and Blue Streak. Which, if he is, okay, fine, fair enough. Okay, not if he is, he pretty much is. But, whatever. I like the look. I dig it. Let's move on. MP20. I want to say this Bumblebee or Wheeljack. This was Wheeljack. Another mold I have experience with. Yeah. The Lancia Stratos Wheeljack. G1 Wheeljack. Is it safe for me to say, other than like the way the shoulders kind of sag down a little bit, he's aesthetically just dead perfect? I can gush about this line all I want, but let's just get on with it. He comes with, I believe, the first release came with the briefcase that he carries around with him everywhere. And then he comes with the pistol, he comes with the shoulder launcher, and I believe that's it. Whatever. Anyway, the fact of the matter is, this is a really cool looking toy. And just in general, just the way he feels in your hand, he feels like a true collector's piece. And that's something about him that I really just like. He was the first masterpiece I ever got. And when I finally got a chance to just sit down, fuss with it, toy with it, and really get a feel of how it works, I fell in love with it. This was my first real look into the Masterpiece line, and therefore I have a lot of love for this general figure. More on that later. So let's go to MP21, and I believe this is actually Bumblebee. Yes, this one is Bumblebee. And this is a mold I actually do have some experience with. Is it safe to say he is the most adorable masterpiece ever? I love him for the fact that he's so tiny. I love him entirely for the fact that he's tiny. So, yeah, where do we go from here? He not only does he come by himself, he comes with the crappiest little accessory ever, that being Daniel. Yeah, I'm sorry, but that's just coming with Daniel was just kind of stupid. He did come with guns. Did he come with 2 guns, or did he come with just the 1? I think he just came with the 1. Oh well, whatever. Once again, you guys can fact check me. This did get 2 other re-releases, which were, I believe, MP21, oh, not 21, 22G, which was G2 Bumblebee, where he was more of a gold color, and MP22R, which was red Bumblebee, which I don't know why the fan base lost their freaking mind when they saw a red Bumblebee and thought it was meant to be Cliff Jumper. What? But yeah, those were the other versions of this mold to be released. And then I believe Wheeljack had, oh, he's actually MP23. His name is Exhaust. Okay. Masterpiece Exhaust. I believe that since he was the Marlboro colors, there was a lot of issues releasing him just to the domestic public. So yeah, he kind of was on the back burner for a while. And for those of us who did get him, props to you guys. You guys were clearly way more patient than others. You definitely would have been way more patient than me. Probably would have gave up on the Masterpiece line at that point, but it's a good thing I haven't been collecting the Masterpiece line all that much. And I'm going to say something real quick about the Masterpiece line real quick. Am I the only one that noticed that the Masterpiece line in general tends to favor the I just brain farted again. Autobots. The Masterpiece line favors the Autobots a little bit more than the Decepticons. Is this just some general rule with the Masterpiece line? Like, for every one Decepticon we had to get 5 more Autobots. Like, I don't know. I'm not complaining or anything. I'm just that's just something in general with the Masterpiece line that I have noticed. MP24. Sorry about that. That was very embarrassing. I'm moving on. And Masterpiece Star Saver. Yeah, since okay, a little bit of story, or at least a little bit of story time. My days of being a Transformers fan date way back, way back to the early '90s, or wait, early? No, late '90s, because around that time, BC was a kid, young BC. Anyways, around that point was when my uncle, before he became my uncle, met my aunt. And it was a very, there was trials and errors, but if there's anything that my uncle did succeed in doing is he made a Transformers fan out of me. Because for a while I thought Power Rangers was the only thing that was like by all and all the coolest thing ever. He showed me, I want to say, Omega Prime was the first figure he ever truly showed me, because like he played it smart, clearly, because he showed me one of the RID combiners, that being Omega Prime. Yeah, that was who he showed me. He showed me Omega Prime, the fully combined form of Omega Prime. And since I was so obsessed with Megazords and all that, I thought it was the coolest freaking thing, because I was sitting there like, wow, it's sentient robots that can become a Megazord all on its own. And then, as time went on, I started to learn the more proper terminology, and here we are. Anyways, that's besides the point. I remember distinctly as a kid walking into my uncle's toy room, and I saw G1 Victory Saber sitting on that desk. And that general image is burned into the back of my mind. I remember looking at the original toy. I don't know how much my uncle paid for it. I don't know if he'd ever be willing to get it again. All I know is that was the only time, or one of the only times, I ever saw it in person. Like, just right there, smack dab right in front of me. So that's one of my goals in life, to get a G1 Star Saver. Anyways, yeah. With that said, let's talk about the Masterpiece now. The Masterpiece pretty much is like a childhood dream come true. Because I always wanted my own Star Saver, but he was. So as time went on, I kind of just gave up. I stopped thinking about it, and then Takara did a little fan vote thing, and yeah, he won. So yeah, it's safe to say as soon as I saw this figure was getting released, I had to have it. And he is every bit as perfect as I could have ever wanted him to be. I will always be biased toward this figure. You can sit there and make all of your complaints all you want. I love him. He is my baby. I will love him forever. Don't ruin it for me. With that gush fest out of the way, let's move on to MP25. MP25 being tracks. Once again, this is where the Masterpiece line kind of started to dip down. Where, while aesthetically, the Corvette Stingray, mind you, and the robot looked very nice. The transformation between the three modes, which was the flying car, the robot, and the regular vehicle, was an absolute freaking nightmare. And he had the black repaint as well as the red repaint. I don't remember the red repaint's name. So I'm just gonna move on. Oh wait. Oh, Road Rage, that's her name. Yeah, Road Rage. which they actually specified that Road Rage is female. So yeah, MP26 is Road Rage, and he came with that one little Indian dude. I swear on my life I'm not racist, but I can't remember the character's name to say my life, so I'm just gonna say he was that Indian kid in the show. He came with, well, clearly enough, he came with his gun. I can't remember for the life of me what he came with. Oh well, whatever. I'm not gonna fuss about it. But yeah, MP26 is generally the same exact thing, just different colors and a few different parts as well as a new head. With that said, moving on. MP27. Okay. This is one where he's very much right smack dab in the middle, as well as the other one. The Masterpiece Ironhide mold, which is MP Ironhide and Ratchet. I believe Ratchet was actually 30. I don't know. But whatever. Anyway, moving on. Yeah, Masterpiece Ironhide. This is one that, you know, I'm just gonna say it. I might as well. The fan base was screaming, finally, when he was released or announced, mind you. And I was kind of in that same boat because when they did that MP10, I loved the look of MP10, and I was sitting here like, I'm surprised Ironhide hasn't been done yet. And I swear it's been a trend every single time a third party does a Masterpiece version of a character. All of a sudden, the car like, oh, well, time for us to do one, and then leaves us scratching our head like, wait, what? I was like, you didn't wanna. Anyway, this is kind of one of those cases where I see so many different versions that could possibly have been a Masterpiece styled Ironhide, and then Takara comes up way later on with something that is slightly more affordable. Yeah, emphasis on slightly. Anyway, moving on. MP28. Oh yeah, MP28 was the redo of Hot Rod, and this was another one where like pictures really does not do him justice. He looks way better in person. Way better in person. In fact, in person, while I have yet to actually handle this mold, and actually before I continue on with that, MP09 had the one black repaint where he was the shattered glass colors. Yeah. Just felt I needed to mention that. I'm done, I promise. Yeah. This was an interesting case because after the debacle that was MP09, I'm pretty sure no one wanted to even remotely try to give this figure a chance. And then as soon as word came out that the figure was actually good, all of a sudden people were on the bandwagon. Ain't that funny? Anyways, jokes aside, this is one where I was like, with it. Like, I wasn't sure how I felt about it, really, at first. But, the more I started to see it, the more it grew, the more the general design grew on me. He comes with around about the same kind of accessories that his much larger figure came with. But, that's fine by me, fishing rod, okay, whatever. I can live with that. So with that said, MP29, I already know who this is. Shockwave. This is a very interesting case, because he's another one of those cases where we got a couple third-party versions of him, And then, lo and behold, we got ourselves a official Takara masterpiece, Shockwave. This confused me for a little while, but then I saw the way the figure transformed, and it's safe to say I am a huge fan of this thing now. And engineering, let's face it, kind of an engineering basic, even though I do feel aesthetically he looks just awesome. Yeah, there's just I can gush about this is another one of those general figures where I can gush about it all day, but if I do, we will get nowhere. So I will just leave it at the figure is great. He comes with himself as a little gun that any of your masterpiece figures can hold. He comes with hand options. He comes with a little gun. He comes with the rubber tube, and he comes with a backpack. Okay, but yeah. With that said, let's move on to MP30, which is and yeah, same as Ironhide. He was that finally factor where I was waiting. This was another one where I was waiting a long time for it, and once we finally got it, life moved on. He's essentially everything that Ironhide is, but with different accessories, I guess. I don't know, but whatever. I'm just gonna leave it at that. It's masterpiece Ratchet. You want, I do plan to go back and start buying some of this stuff up to do a masterpiece show. But until then, I'm just gonna sit by and watch. MP31 Ultra Magnus. Where do I begin with this figure? Here's where I'm going to start with this figure. He is aesthetically dead freaking perfect. Is he? Is Ultra Magnus MP? Hold on, let me check that. Here, hold on, let me check that real quick. He is. Oh, he was MP22. Did I do 22 already? Nope, I didn't. Well, hey, I skipped. Sorry guys, I skipped one. But yeah, MP31 is Delta Magnus, and I guess since I was already kind of going into it, Ultra Magnus. Yeah, aesthetically dead perfect, and Delta Magnus is essentially the Diaclone colors. And it's Ultra Magnus in different colors. What more can I say? It's a cool look. I dig it. And just overall, I think it's a really just genuinely awesome idea to kind of give a lot of these other characters, like, I'll give these Diaclone colors an actual character, and actually give them something to do within a few forms of mythos. Because Delta Magnus, I believe, was actually in the Japanese series, but what do I know? Now, MP32, Masterpiece Optimus Primal. Yeah, I want this. I need this. I gotta have it. Yeah. So yeah, where do we begin? He's perfect. He's just perfect. Again, it's another one where it's like, I think he's perfect. I absolutely love it. And I grew up with Beast Wars, so I absolutely adore the look of the figure. I cannot wait until I get this one in hand. So with that said, we'll move. Let's actually talk about the one other version of this figure that came out, where I believe they called it Supreme Commander Optimus Primal, where he was essentially the toy colors. MP33, I believe, is Cheetor. Oh no, MP33 is Inferno. This is one where again I kind of feel like Takara has kind of took a decline. And I don't know. I'm not too sure on how I feel about this line, how I felt about this line at the moment of his release. Because at that point, I kind of feel like the Masterpiece line at this point is just scraping the bottom of the barrel for characters to make it to toys. And you know, I'm not gonna argue. I think it's pretty cool. I already know this mold has already been done into Grapple. It's already been done into Artfire. We might see it get done into that green version of Inferno or Grapple or whichever of the two it actually ended up being. MP34 was Cheetor. You know, again, quite like Optimus Primal, this was a figure that, yeah, I grew up with Beast Wars, so in my eyes, he is aesthetically dead perfect. Just straight up in my eyes, he's aesthetically dead perfect. But he did kind of have some breakage issues right out of the gate. And I hope Takara did something to fix that, but I can't speak on it because I don't own the toy. So at some point, if I ever do get these Beast Wars Masterpiece figures, which I'm psyched for Dinobot, if I ever do get my hands on a few of these Masterpiece figures, or at least of the Beast Wars Masterpiece figures, I will definitely, you know, dive more into them with my review of them. So with that said, let's move on to MP35, which is Grapple. And, yeah, it's Inferno, just with a crane arm and orange. We're moving on. MP36. Yeah, it was safe for me to do that. Yeah, guys, remember MP05? Yeah, this one is categorically better in every single way. MP36 Megatron, once again, he is one of those clear examples of what the Masterpiece line should be, needs to be, and should never stop being. A true to form G1 rendition of a specific character. Loaded to the brim with accessories that we may have seen once or twice. And overall, this is a fantastic figure. Just gun mode looks great. The transformation is an engineering marvel. As somebody who really gets a kick out of complex transformations, I can't wait to get my own of this. I just don't want to pay his ridiculous asking price. Like, I'm really looking forward to getting my own of him. But MP36 Megatron, he's oh man. Oh man. He's an interesting case entirely because of the fact that I spent a lot of time believing that it couldn't be done. I spent a lot of time believing MP Megatron can never be done. And you know, third party companies, they've tried, but they weren't just automatic knocking out of the parks. And then this comes around and they pretty much said straight up, oh, hey, by the way, remember that thing we did all those years ago? Yeah, we did it again, but this time we did it right. And I'm really going to say right now, if you're only going to get one Masterpiece figure at all, despite all my bias towards Star Saber, make it Megatron. Megatron, no. If you need a 100% true to form master, or just 100% true to form G1 Megatron, the Masterpiece 36 Megatron is the one you're going to want to get. Entirely because of the fact that he just brings his A game. Now, MP37 is Artfire. And I believe that's actually it as far as where they stand out. Oh, no, wait, no, MP38 is that Toy Accurate Primal, which I find to be a little odd, and the monkey mode is okay at best on that one. I mean, this is my first time actually seeing more of that, so I don't know. I guess I'm just being weird. And MP39. I believe MP39 is actually supposed to be Sunstreaker. So with that said, who's going to be MP40? Ooh, who knows? Anyways, yeah, MP39, from what I can tell, is supposed to be Sunstreaker, but entirely for the sake of I need to bring it up, yeah, they retooled the MP11 Seeker mold and made the cone heads out of them. I think it's pretty cool, but is he? I don't think they're worth mentioning because they're just, I don't know. Whatever. I'm gonna leave it at that. Just they did cone heads. They did Masterpiece cone heads. For those of you who wanted to know, they did do them. Leave it at that. So with that said, yeah, like I said, Masterpiece line, the good, the bad, and the downright ugly. And I did my best to be honest. I did my best to show you guys some of my disdain for some of these figures. But let's face it, a lot of these figures, I gotta hand it to them. They're great. Oh, and I guess there's one more version of the MP12 Lamborghini. Clampdown, that's his name. Yeah, it's Clampdown, and I don't have his actual ID as far as his actual release number, but yeah, I believe that's the Diaclone version of Sideswipe / Red Alert. I believe, I'm not sure, don't quote me on that. But, yeah. With that said, I'm going to go into another small little segment, which is going to oh, come on. So anyways, with that said, how do I put this? I'm basically going to go into Masterpiece or characters that I want to see get done in the Masterpiece line. And first things first, I'm going to get out of the way. Victory Leo. I want a Victory Leo because they are making it pretty freaking clear with the Star Saber with those foot pegs underneath him. He's coming. I want to see it. I want it to happen. Please, Takara, please do it. Dinobot would have been on that list, but Dynamite would have been on the list, but he was confirmed, so it's like, yay! So at this point, I guess all I can really say is, as far as Masterpiece goes, I don't know, maybe a Megatron? Maybe a Beast Wars Megatron? An official Masterpiece Blaster. I want an official Masterpiece Blaster. I want a Masterpiece Astro Train, because we keep hearing that at some point we're gonna get a new Masterpiece Astro Train, and it ends up not happening. Well, God knows whatever reason. I'm trying to think of other characters that I wanted to. Galvatron. I really want to see a Masterpiece Galvatron. Like that in general, I would love to see happen. To kind of go with the Hot Rod, I would love to see a Masterpiece Cup. I would love to see a Masterpiece Blur. Hell, I'll even go as far as to say I would love to see a Masterpiece RC. You know, give us a genuinely new character, or a genuinely new female character, to make a new mold. Let it be RC in my eyes. And as far as things like just out of the ordinary that I would love to see become a Masterpiece figure, my all-time favorite character, Lyle Convoy. Please, Takara, I will throw my damn money at you. Make a Masterpiece Lyle Convoy. I will buy that in a heartbeat. But yeah, with that said, I'd love to see a big Convoy, even though it would probably never ever happen. A Masterpiece Omega Supreme, and you know, screw it. If since we're already going down that whole G2 route, let's see a G2 version of Prime where he's the full tanker truck. And who else am I missing? Who are other characters? A Masterpiece Skids. I would love to see what a Masterpiece Skids would look like. And Masterpiece Trailbreaker and Hoist. I'd love to see those two. And if Takara was daring enough, I would love to see their take on a Masterpiece style Devastator. And just release them all piece by piece. To where, like, when you slap it all together, it's just a big, giant, hulking mass. Yeah, I'd love to see that. Personally, I'd love to see that. But, you know, the likelihood of it actually happening is slim to none. So, yeah, if I'm actually going to go in this general route, I would love to see, entirely because of the fact that I think Star Saber is kind of paving the way for this, give me a Masterpiece Power Master Prime. Give me a Masterpiece Star Convoy. And you know, like I said, G2 Tanker Prime. Give me a Masterpiece version of RID Prime. Fire Convoy, for those of us who go by the Japanese name. I would love to see these characters just in general become Masterpiece figures. I mean, hell, if we're getting them out of Beast Wars characters, then at this point, give me Armada Prime. Give me Armada Hotshot. Give me Armada Sideswipe. Give me Armada Starscream. I would love to see a Masterpiece Starscream. Armada Starscream. I'm clearly getting ahead of myself, but you get what I mean. I would love to see some Masterpiece Armada figures. Hell, the Energon Fatimus. Make him a Masterpiece figure. I'm pretty sure that y'all can pull it off too. I would love to see that happen. So yeah, Masterpiece versions of Triple Chambers. I'd love to see a Masterpiece Springer. I'd love to see a Masterpiece Astro Train, like I already stated. I want to see a Masterpiece Blitzwing, a Masterpiece Octane, a Masterpiece Sandstorm, a Masterpiece Broadside. And you know, like, I'll even go as far as to say, give me a Masterpiece Six Shot. Give me Masterpiece Target Masters. These are characters I want to see. And I don't know if I said it already, but I would love to see a Masterpiece Galvatron. I would love to see Masterpiece Cyclonus, a Masterpiece Scourge. And if you end up doing a Masterpiece version of the G2 Laser Prime, give me a Masterpiece RID Scourge. Just in general, give me all these characters that, like, if you could scrape the bottom of the barrel as far as characters to make into masterpieces, there you go. Those are very obscure characters that not a lot of people know about. And I mean, hell, granted, I love the Titans Return figure. I want to see a Masterpiece Brawn. I want to see a Masterpiece Gears. I want to see a Masterpiece Swerve. I want to see masterpieces of a lot of these characters, and good God, I can't believe I'm saying this, but I would actually love to see an official Masterpiece wheelie. I'm gonna go cry in a corner now, but before I do, I'm going to sit here and I'm going to simply. Now, normally I would just kind of leave these streams and just kind of be all like, well, okay, that's it, BC Talks is over, bye. But this time, I'm actually going to get you guys quite a bit hyped up because my next episode of BC Talks, well, one, hopefully we have a guest in it this time, and two, BC Talks will be on the movies. What I liked, what I disliked, and what I want to see. So, with all that said, guys, I've taken up a whole crap ton of your time. This is BC saying stay nerdy and get your geek on. I will catch you guys next time. Bye.